Hi, I'm Jason Houtsma from worshipartistry.com. You know, if you're out there searching for a guitar or thinking about what that next big guitar purchase is going to be, it can be really difficult to actually focus on the things that matter when it comes to playing a different guitar. I mean, why are there so many guitars on a wall in a store? What's the difference? What makes them different? What are the things that you should actually be looking for and be focusing on in your search? You know, if you're sitting down and there's a guy to the right of you playing Stairway to Heaven, and then the guy to the left of you playing Smoke on the Water, you know, acoustic, you're probably playing Dust in the Wind. It's difficult to really focus on the things that matter. Sometimes you might be looking at an artist and going, oh, I really like that artist, therefore I love their guitar. That might not always be the case. So in this video, I have been able to procure a number of different model of Martin guitars, thanks to Doug Gould. He's like a drug pusher. Just like, here, hang on to these guitars for a while, see what you think. And so I've been able to sit with these really for a month now, just playing each one, really getting the feel for each one. And I think I kind of have a good sense of what the good application for, or what's a good application for each one, what makes them sound different, and that sort of thing. And so in this video, I'm just going to be working my way down this line of guitars. We're going to start with the largest here with the Grand Auditorium, and we're going to finish up with a little 0017 S, which is like it's almost like a little cowboy guitar. And then we're going to hit a bunch of things in between. So let's go ahead and dive in. So for this video, we're going to go largest to smallest. So I'm going to start out with this Grand Auditorium. This is a Martin GP18. And if you've ever looked at Martin guitars, basically the first letters kind of tell you what type of model it is. The number tells you kind of the treatments. The higher the number, the kind of fancier the guitar is. The more, you know, just kind of beautification that happens. So this is a fairly basic model. And let's just start talking about kind of each section. First, the body style. Now, Grand Auditorium is kind of like a great alternative if you're familiar with dreadnoughts. I don't have a dreadnought here, but I think we're all familiar with those. Dreadnoughts are that big body style guitar. You know, bluegrass players use them. They were kind of the standard for a really long time. Like everybody had one of those. They've got a big kind of boomy low end, and they really resonate well. The Grand Auditorium is basically a more balanced guitar, a little bit more comfortable in terms of it's not as deep. The way the waist of it is, it's just a little thinner. It's more comfortable to sit with depending on how big you are. I'm kind of a smaller guy, so smaller guitars always feel better to me. The neck, though, is full scale length, and it has this one in particular has an oval neck, and so it fits the hand really nicely. The main thing to notice about the string sound, you know, it's got Sitka spruce on the top, and it's got mahogany back and sides, ebony fingerboard, and it's very balanced sounding. It's kind of like if you want a big, loud projecting dreadnought, but that big boomy bass end is just a little bit too much for you. A lot of times when you're playing live, it gets EQ'd out anyway. And so having a Grand Auditorium has a little more balance on the strings. Like I said, still projects, works well for both finger pickers and strummers, and is just nice and even sounding. So that's the basic idea here with this Grand Auditorium model. I'm just going to go ahead and play a little bit first with some strumming, then we'll do some finger picking, and then we'll go on to the next one. All right, stepping down from the Grand Auditorium. Now, whereas the Grand Auditorium has a little bit more of a bassy tone, but a little thinner sound, The OM model, this is an OM28, has a very even across the string sound. There's really no highs and lows. It all plays really evenly across. This has a Sitka spruce top, Indian rosewood sides and back, as well as neck, and it is a full scale neck that goes to 14 frets to the body. Now, I love these guitars. They are so even sounding. They're great for worship leading, but they're great for anything really. The neck is nice and comfortable to play, but listen, the key thing is to listen to the sound of these strings, just right across. It's so even. It's like the chords all just kind of blend together. However, the notes will really stand out when you're playing lead work or finger picking. It's a great finger picking guitar. And it's really comfortable. It's comfortable in your lap. The neck is an oval neck. It's nice and thin, and really easy to play. The other thing to note is it has scallop bracing, so it really projects really well, and it's kind of a thinner scallop bracing, so that takes in there as well. So let's go ahead and have a listen to it. All right, now what I have here is an OME Cherry. And what that essentially means, this is basically the same guitar as the OM model. So same shape, same neck, all that kind of stuff. I mean, the appointments are a little different. They have these cool matte gold tuners, but the woods are different, right? So it still has a Sitka spruce top, but the sides and back are cherry, and the neck is mahogany. And it's going to make a massive difference in how it sounds. It's going to be a little bit of a thinner sound. It's going to be a little bit more mellow. So you'll be able to hear that as we play through, but it's basically the same thing as the OM. It's just with those different woods. So let's go ahead and give that one a listen. Well, you should be familiar with this one. This is a 00028 EC. It is very similar actually to the OM, but there are a few key differences which give it a different sound. One is the length of the neck. The neck is actually slightly shorter scale, so everything still stays in tune and everything. However, the shorter scale makes it so that it doesn't project quite as much. There's not as much tension on the strings, and so the sound of it is a little different in that way. The other thing is the bracing inside the body. They both have scallop bracing. However, the OM model is a little bit thinner. It has just a slightly thinner braces, Whereas this one, while it is scalloped brace, it's just a little bit thicker. And what that does is it gives this guitar a little bit more of a boxier kind of a tone, just a little bit warmer, a little more mid-rangey, whereas the other one, I think projects is a little bit brighter. This is a great finger-picking guitar. Everything is really even across the strings. The other thing that's a little bit different about this guitar, and it's less about the sound, but in terms of when you're thinking about a guitar, this one has a modified V shape on the neck, which you can't see from the front. But so it's a little bit deeper, and it tapers a little bit more. So whereas the other ones are kind of the oval kind of shape, this one has more of this modified V. I really like it. A lot of people aren't huge fans of it. Another great reason why you should definitely play any guitar that you're going to choose to spend some money on. So I'm going to play this one for you. You should notice a difference in that tone. You should hear that this is a little bit boxier, a little bit warmer, and that should come through. All right, now we're shrinking down a little bit. So essentially what we're doing here with this 0028 is we are taking the same woods that are on the OM model. We have the 000 neck scale, and then we have a smaller body. So it's the same shape, but it's a smaller body. And what that gives you is you still get the evenness across the strings. I think it sounds really great as we play across. You can hear a little more mid-range in there. It's a little bit boxier, still projects nice and loudly. It doesn't get too bright on the high end. However, yeah, you just feel that smaller body. It's noticeable. You can also feel it in terms of how it sits with you. If you're a smaller person, if you just want to be kicking back on the couch, but still want to get good tone, this does a great job. Just has a little bit more of that warmth in there, a little less on the low end as well. But still, I mean, I can feel it resonating when I play it. So let's go ahead and give a listen to how it sounds. All right, now this one is probably the black sheep, if you will, of the group here. Very different looking, very different sounding guitar. This is a 00L17S. That's kind of a mouthful there. It's a 00L17S. This one is very different. Obviously, it's got a different body shape to it. It has a shorter scale on the neck. Only goes to the 12th fret. I mean, this is a little guitar. It is lightweight. I mean, it's like a feather. I can't get over how light it is. It's got the satin finish, so it's very, there's not a lot of lacquer on it or anything like that. Very kind of old-timey look and very kind of old-timey sound. I love this guitar. It's a lot boxier, but it's very comfortable to play. It sounds very different than all the other ones. And so, you know, when you're kind of looking at different parts, you know, a lot of times with like parlor guitars, kind of these smaller I call them parlor guitars, kind of smaller guitar bodies, what you end up with is a guitar that doesn't have a lot of headroom, meaning that, it's okay for finger picking, but once you start strumming, it kind of starts almost like distorting, like it doesn't sound as good. You kind of lose the individual notes in it. Whereas this guitar has great headroom, sounds great with finger picking. It has a very kind of bluesy, kind of old-timey sound. It might not be your favorite thing. You might listen to it and go, oh, I don't really like the way that sounds. But for my purposes and what I like, it is a great fit. So I'm going to just go ahead and play through with this one. You can really hear how it sounds, and then we'll sum everything up. At the end of the day, a guitar is a very individual choice. There are things that make them sound different, there are things that make them feel different, but the question is, what do you want? What is a good fit for you? Like I said, I love this little guitar. In fact, I ended up making this guitar mine. I had to sell some stuff, but it was worth it. I love the tone of it, I love the sound, and that's unique to me. That's unique to what I really like. So when you're shopping for guitars, really take your time. I've gotten to sit with these guys for a month. When I bought my 0028 EC, I had gone to the store like 20 times and just played that guitar and got to the point where I was like, man, I love this guitar. I cannot live without it. This is the guitar that I need to save for. And so think about that as you go through your process. It's fun to check out everything else that's under the sun, but I think you'll start to find something that really kind of captures your heart. And I hope you find something just as I did.